Have you ever sat by the shore, gazing out at the endless horizon, and wondered just how vast and mysterious the deep blue sea truly is? The ocean stretches farther than the eye can see, and its depths are almost impossible to imagine. What lies beneath the surface remains one of our planet's greatest mysteries. From ancient sunken cities to ghost ships lost in the mist, here are 15 of the most terrifying objects ever discovered in the deep sea. Number 15. Thony's Heraclean. Ghost ships are one thing, but how about entire underwater ghost cities? Thousands of years ago, this ancient city stood as the gateway to the prestigious kingdom of Egypt and bridged the gap between the civilization of the pharaohs and the ancient Greeks. Founded around 2,700 years ago, it was believed to have been one of the most important ports of the ancient world. However, it didn't stand long before it fell to ruin at the hands of the perils of the ocean. After a disastrous earthquake resulting in the region of Thony's Heraclean collapsing into the ocean, the city itself was suddenly submerged beneath the waves, forgotten to history for several thousand years. However, in the early 2000s, a group of divers working off the Egyptian coast found a large fragment of rock at the bottom of the seabed, and after bringing it to land, they discovered that it was the head of a gigantic ancient statue, remarkably still intact. As they continued searching, the team eventually unearthed 6 more pieces of the statue, and after an extensive excavation, the ruins of an entire temple were discovered. As it turned out, the entire city of Heraclean had been rediscovered after being submerged beneath the waves of the Mediterranean for thousands of years, and it seems that its true secrets are still yet to be revealed. Number 14. North Korean ghost ships. One of the most terrifying truths about the ocean is how many unfortunate souls have perished out in the endless blue, forever lost to the murky depths after being forced to leave behind the broken vessels that they once traveled in. While the vast majority of these wrecked ships quickly find themselves sinking to the bottom of the ocean, some of them are never released from their fate, eternally bound to roam the 7 seas as ghost ships. Now, you may think that ghost ships are old wooden vessels like the Black Pearl or any other old pirate ship, but the truth is these ghost ships are also an equally modern phenomenon. One of the most terrifying instances of these modern ghost ships are from North Korea, the rogue, isolated nation that's notoriously been under authoritarian rule since 1948. Every year, dozens of derelict boats from North Korea ominously wash up on the shores of Japan and South Korea, with many of them belonging to North Korean fishermen that have been lost at sea, ultimately succumbing to starvation. While fishing is one of the most dangerous occupations on the planet, it seems that North Korea's lack of safety concerns makes it one of the most terrifying professions imaginable, with many sailors left to face the perils of the ocean with inadequate equipment and damaged ships. In 2018 alone, more than 200 North Korean fishing vessels were found adrift or stranded on beaches across Japan's western shoreline, and every year it seems these vessels return in increasing numbers. Terrifying. Number 13. SS Thistlegorm. Sure, the SOM may be a terrifying reminder of sunken Soviet weaponry, but the SS Thistlegorm is an underwater military wreckage like no other. As the legend goes, the SS Thistlegorm was a flagship British merchant vessel that was famously sunk by the German Luftwaffe in the early hours of October of 1941, and it's since become one of the most notorious deep-sea diving sites on the planet. Located just off the coastline of Crete, the SS Thistlegorm was originally bound for the port of Alexandria in Egypt, but its final voyage spelled ruin for the ship after it was blown to smithereens by nearly 3 tons of highly explosive bombs. Tragically, the launch was a critical hit, and after it had exploded on a cargo haul of ammunition, the SS Thistlegorm quickly sank to the bottom of the ocean floor. Now, only the ghostly reminder of its perfectly preserved military cargo remains, an eerie underwater display of a long-forgotten era. Number 12. KAZ-2. While we've seen our fair share of terrifying deep-sea ghost ships already, few of them can compare to the unfathomable mystery of the KAZ-2, what's been dubbed Australia's most infamous ghost ship mystery. On April 18, 2007, the crew of a surveillance helicopter spotted an abandoned vessel drifting at sea, almost 100 miles off the coast of Queensland, Australia. From a distance, they could see that the 32-foot catamaran had been badly damaged, and the sails seemed to be shredded to ribbons. When investigators boarded the vessel, they found no signs of a struggle or foul play, deepening the mystery. The ship's logbook revealed that the 3-man crew had been experienced sailors, and their last entry gave no indication of any trouble. Some theorized that one of the men may have fallen overboard, prompting the others to attempt a rescue, only to be lost themselves in the process. Others suggest that a freak wave or sudden storm may have swept the crew into the sea, leaving the boat eerily intact. Adding to the strangeness, the life jackets and emergency equipment were untouched, as if the crew had no time to react to whatever happened. The eerie state of the ship, combined with the complete lack of evidence, has led to wild speculation, including theories of piracy, alien abduction, or even supernatural forces. Strangely, when the rescue vessel arrived, they found that the ship was set up for a meal, with food and utensils still set out on the table. Oddly enough, the engine was also running, and the onboard computers were still turned on and functioning. Upon further inspection, they also found that fishing lines were still being cast from the boat, and that the crew's personal belongings remained completely undisturbed. To this day, authorities are unable to determine what happened to the KAZ-2, and the fate of its crew has never been discovered. Number 11. Baiae, the Forbidden City. Did you ever know that the ancient Romans had their own version of the Las Vegas Strip? Sounds awesome, right? Well, it's also kind of haunted. After being lost for more than 1,700 years, a team of divers exploring Italy's west coast revealed one of the most extraordinarily preserved ancient cities submerged beneath the waves. The site, known as Baiae, was considered to be the Las Vegas for the super-rich of the first centuries of ancient Rome, and archaeologists were astonished to discover evidence of sprawling mansions dotted across the underwater landscape. Among the ruins, divers have uncovered intricate marble statues, luxurious bathhouses, and elaborate mosaics that once adorned the floors of opulent villas. The mosaics, depicting scenes of Roman mythology and daily life, are so well preserved that their vibrant colors still shine through the murky waters. Some of the structures even include remnants of heated floors and advanced plumbing systems, showcasing the engineering brilliance of the Romans. The city was also infamous for its decadence, with historical accounts describing wild parties, political scheming, and even rumored poisonings that took place within its walls. Today, the underwater ruins of Baiae have become a popular destination for divers and underwater archaeologists, offering a rare glimpse into the lavish lifestyles of ancient Rome's elite. The eerie silence of the submerged city, combined with its haunting beauty, has led some to believe that Baiae is cursed, its ruins serving as a reminder of the excesses that led to its downfall. Originally, it's believed that the city of Baiae resided inland, but as the ages passed, the majority of the city was lost to the ocean, as volcanic activity caused the coastline to retreat more than 1,300 feet towards land. The result was the entire city being engulfed by the ocean, swallowed for an age until its rediscovery in the 18th century. Incredibly, most parts of the city are remarkably intact, even after 1,700 years of saltwater. There are even legends that the entrance to the River Styx is buried somewhere beneath its mosaic floors. Spooky. Now it's time for today's topic. In June 2025, a team of international deep-sea researchers surveying the continental shelf near Greenland made a shocking discovery: a fully intact World War II-era submarine, resting silently over 600 feet beneath the surface. What stunned the team wasn't just the pristine condition of the wreck, but what they found inside. Upon deploying a remote-operated vehicle, ROV, equipped with high-definition cameras, the team peered through a broken hatch and into the control room, revealing the skeletal remains of the crew, still seated at their posts. Helmets, uniforms, and even rusted tools remained eerily untouched, preserved by the icy, low-oxygen conditions of the Arctic waters. The submarine bore markings consistent with the German Kriegsmarine, and early analysis suggests it may be U-354, a long-missing type VIIC sublast recorded in 1944. Naval archives report it vanished without a distress call during a northern patrol, believed sunk by Allied depth charges. Marine archaeologists are now collaborating with historical societies to confirm the identity and trace the crew's last mission. DNA samples will be collected for potential identification. While war graves are usually left undisturbed, the haunting image of an entire crew frozen in time is a solemn reminder of history still hiding in the deep. Number 10. Train Graveyard. Alright, let's begin with a bizarre tale that left 2 terrestrial trains somehow sinking off the east coast of the United States. Now, it's anyone's guess how in the world any single locomotive train could have found itself sunken at the bottom of the ocean. But in this strange and unsolved calamity, there isn't just one, but 2 of them. Just off the coast of Long Branch in New Jersey, a mysterious train wreckage has had both historians and amateur enthusiasts perplexed as to its underlying origins. Some theories suggest that the locomotives were lost during a storm in the 1850s while being transported by barge, possibly en route to a new rail line. Others speculate that they were intentionally dumped into the ocean to avoid paying salvage fees, or as part of an early attempt at creating an artificial reef. The locomotives themselves are believed to be Planet Class 222T models, a rare and early design of steam engine that was already considered outdated by the mid-19th century. Divers who have explored the wreckage describe the trains as haunting relics of a bygone era, with their massive iron wheels and boilers now encrusted with marine life. Despite their age and the harsh underwater conditions, the locomotives remain remarkably well preserved, offering a glimpse into the industrial past. Efforts to recover the trains have been discussed, but the cost and complexity of such an operation have kept them firmly rooted in their watery grave. Submerged 90 feet at the bottom of the New Jersey coastline, these 2 steam locomotives lay undiscovered for just over 100 years, gathering rust in the frigid waters of the Atlantic Ocean. It wasn't until 1985 when they were discovered by a scuba diver named Paul Hepler that their existence finally came to light, and since then, how they arrived there or who even built them has remained a complete and utter mystery. The thing is, these aren't just any locomotives, but instead a rare breed of machinery generally used in train yards for moving other trains, custom-built for that exact purpose. Perplexingly, for such a specific locomotive, there are no records of them ever even being built. Still to this day, the origin of this deep-sea train wreckage remains an unsolved mystery, and in all likelihood, we may never know the underlying truth behind the New Jersey wreckage. Number 9. Neptune Memorial Reef. On the subject of memorializing those that have lost their lives out in the endless deep blue sea, this next entry is an entire underwater city for the dead. Located around 3 miles off the coast of Key Biscayne in Miami, there exists an underwater cemetery, complete with stone roads, soaring gates, and crumbling ruins in memorial to those that have perished there. At 40 feet below the surface of the sea, the Neptune Memorial Reef was designed by Florida artist Kim Brandel and was opened back in 2007 in sponsorship with the Neptune Society, a cremation company and funeral director based out of Florida. The design of the reef is inspired by the mythical lost city of Atlantis, with intricate columns, arches, and statues that give it an otherworldly feel. Over time, the structures have become encrusted with coral and sponges, transforming the site into a vibrant underwater ecosystem teeming with marine life. Schools of fish now weave through the ruins, and sea turtles and rays are frequent visitors, making it a living tribute to both the deceased and the ocean itself. Divers who visit the site often describe it as peaceful and surreal, a place where life and death coexist in harmony. The reef also serves as a unique alternative to traditional burial, offering families a chance to honor their loved ones in a way that contributes to marine conservation. In fact, the Neptune Memorial Reef has been praised for its environmental impact, as it provides a sanctuary for marine species and helps to restore damaged coral reefs in the area. Incredibly, for those that wish to be buried at the bottom of the murky blue, cremated remains are cast into concrete memorials and placed within the sunken necropolis. The Neptune Memorial Reef was created as a natural habitat for marine organisms to grow, left behind for divers to explore in the mysterious and murky wreckage. While it may be pretty unnerving on the surface, it seems to be one of the most thoughtful sunken cities ever constructed. Number 8. Sea of Galilee Mystery. Several years ago, evidence of a gigantic stone monument was discovered at the bottom of the Sea of Galilee in northern Israel, and since then, archaeologists across the planet have become utterly baffled by its design, raising many questions as to who or what created it. Some believe it to have been constructed by the mythical Nephilim, an ancient race of giants, while others believe it to be a structure used for sacrificial purposes as the remains of a long-forgotten civilization. This mysterious cone-shaped object was discovered over 30 feet beneath the water by divers back in 2003. Adding to the intrigue, the structure appears to have been deliberately constructed, with the basalt stones carefully stacked and arranged, suggesting a high level of engineering skill. Some researchers speculate that it may have once been part of a larger settlement that was submerged as water levels rose over thousands of years. The location of the monument, near ancient trade routes, has led others to theorize that it could have served as a ceremonial or religious site for travelers and traders. Divers exploring the site have reported an eerie stillness, as if the structure holds secrets waiting to be uncovered. Despite its age, the monument shows no signs of natural formation, further fueling debates about its purpose and the people who built it. Strangely enough, the sheer size of this object is staggering, with a diameter greater than the length of a Boeing 747. Built purely out of basalt rock, it's twice the size of Stonehenge in England and weighs an estimated 60,000 tons. Although scientists are still struggling to establish any more evidence about this mysterious and expansive object, estimates potentially place the structure as being up to 12,000 years old. Whatever the case, this long-sunken structure is evidence of an advanced and well-organized society, and its origin may very well change the way we look at the history of our species. Number 7. HMS Titanic. When it comes to the secrets of the seven seas, it would be difficult to find any underwater wreckage more iconic than the Titanic disaster of the 20th century. We all know the tale, right? Over a century ago, on April 14, 1912, the maiden voyage of the Titanic tragically collided with a fateful iceberg, plunging its 2,224 passengers and crew into the ice-cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean. By the next morning, over 1,500 people had tragically lost their lives, and it became the biggest maritime disaster in recorded history. However, it wasn't until 1985 that the Titanic wreckage was finally rediscovered, and it took a voyage into the endless ocean depths to do so. The discovery was made by a joint American-French expedition led by Dr. Robert Ballard, who used advanced underwater technology to locate the wreck nearly 12,500 feet below the surface. The eerie images of the ship's bow emerging from the darkness captivated the world, sparking renewed interest in the Titanic story. Among the wreckage, researchers found haunting remnants of the past, including porcelain dishes, shoes, and even unopened bottles of champagne. The site has since become a somber underwater museum, with expeditions capturing footage of the grand staircase and other iconic parts of the ship. However, the Titanic's resting place is also a source of controversy, as debates rage over whether it should be left undisturbed or further explored for historical preservation. Now, the wreck of the Titanic sits in two pieces over 370 miles south of Newfoundland on the eastern coast of Canada. While the ship's distinctive bow, as well as many of the ship's interiors, are strangely well preserved, the ocean is doing its best to completely destroy the Titanic wreck, collapsed, corroded, and encrusted, down to a cocktail of natural forces eating away at the ship's hull. The Titanic is being eaten alive by seawater. Tragically, scientists estimate that the Titanic wreckage may be completely devoured by as early as 2030, meaning that this historical treasure trove could be lost forever, reclaimed by the same ocean that destroyed it. Number 6. Chuuk Lagoon. While there are plenty of weird places in the world's oceans, it seems that Chuuk Lagoon may be one of the weirdest. This place, previously known as Truk Atoll, is a ring-shaped coral reef located in the central Pacific Ocean, roughly around 1,100 miles from the nearest landmass. Throughout its history, this isolated oceanic anomaly has been the location of numerous naval battles and alleged paranormal mysteries, after the Japanese Navy used the atoll as a military base during World War II. During Operation Hailstone in 1944, a massive U.S. airstrike devastated the Japanese fleet stationed there, sinking dozens of warships, aircraft, and supply vessels in a single day. Today, the lagoon is home to over 60 wrecks, many of which remain eerily intact, with tanks, ammunition, and even personal belongings still scattered across the seafloor. Divers have reported seeing ghostly apparitions and hearing strange sounds while exploring the wrecks, adding to the site's reputation as one of the most haunted underwater locations in the world. The wrecks themselves have become artificial reefs, teeming with marine life, creating a haunting juxtaposition of death and rebirth. Some of the ships are so well preserved that divers can still see the remains of torpedoes lodged in their hulls, a chilling reminder of the violence that unfolded there. And now, from sunken tanks to human remains, it seems that Chuuk Lagoon may be one of the most haunting undersea graveyards on Earth. Incredibly, it wasn't until 1969 that the true terrors of this underwater necropolis were discovered, when famous French explorer Jacques Cousteau filmed an expedition there. Since then, the terrifying lagoon has become a notorious site for brave divers and researchers, endlessly searching for an answer to this mysterious underwater grave. Number 5. Granadas underwater figures. Sure, the deep sea can be terrifying, but strangely enough, it can also be oddly beautiful. Built back in May of 2016, the Molinaire Underwater Sculpture Park is a collection of ecological underwater contemporary art located in the Caribbean Sea, just off the west coast of Grenada in the West Indies. As the brainchild of British sculptor Jason DeCaires-Taylor, it's considered to be the world's first underwater sculpture park, and the Underwater Museum aims to engage local people with the underwater environment that surrounds it, using sculptures which are lifelike casts of the local community. The sculptures themselves are hauntingly detailed, with some depicting individuals holding hands in a circle, while others portray solitary figures lost in thought, creating an almost otherworldly atmosphere beneath the waves. Over time, these statues have been transformed by the sea, as coral, algae, and other marine organisms have begun to grow on their surfaces, blending art with nature in a way that feels both eerie and mesmerizing. The park has also become a haven for marine life, attracting schools of fish, sea turtles, and even the occasional reef shark, making it a thriving underwater ecosystem. Divers often describe the experience as surreal, as if they're exploring a forgotten underwater civilization frozen in time. The park's unique combination of art, conservation, and tourism has inspired similar projects around the world, cementing its legacy as a groundbreaking initiative. The thing is, despite having its own artistic importance to Grenadian society, the sculpture park also serves an incredibly practical purpose. These sculptures act as an aid to relieve the pressure on natural reefs, serving as a safety barrier to the underwater area, which has since become a popular tourist attraction for scuba divers and explorers. Sure, it may be strangely beautiful, but those statues are pretty darn lifelike. Number 4. The Somme. While the ocean is littered with countless terrifying vessels, the next entry is a different kind of ghost story. Back in 2016, Russia hoped to smooth over old Soviet tensions with Sweden by engaging in a joint operation to unearth a lost submarine that had sunk over 100 years ago. However, the terrifying thing was that the Soviet Somme-class submarine was still equipped with a payload of deadly explosives. The operation was fraught with danger, as even the slightest disturbance could have triggered the century-old munitions, potentially causing a catastrophic underwater explosion. Adding to the eerie nature of the mission, the submarine was found in near-perfect condition, as if it had been frozen in time, with its rusted exterior now home to barnacles and other marine life. Historians were particularly intrigued by the discovery, as the SOM was originally based on an American design, the Holland-class submarine, making it a rare blend of international engineering. The vessel's tragic history only deepened the mystery, as it had collided with a Swedish steamer in 1916, sinking to the depths with all hands lost. The recovery team also found personal artifacts inside the submarine, such as boots and tools, offering a haunting glimpse into the lives of the sailors who perished. Despite the risks, the operation was hailed as a success, with both nations agreeing to preserve the wreck as a historical artifact rather than attempt a full recovery. The submarine, named SOM, Russian for catfish, measured in at 66 feet long and was the first of its kind to have been made in St. Petersburg. Equipped with one machine gun and one 15-inch torpedo tube, the vessel was launched in 1904 and it made up one of 7 flagship Soviet submarines. In an incredible turn of terrible luck, all 7 of them ended up sinking, and only 2 of them have ever been recovered. Yikes. Number 3. Gulf of Aqaba Military Museum. Alright, we may have seen some sunken Soviet submarines, but this next underwater military wreckage is a different kettle of fish. Back in 2019, the Middle Eastern country of Jordan unveiled its latest museum dedicated to its military history. However, there was a small catch: you'd need a scuba certification to get to see it. Located just off the coast of Aqaba in the Red Sea, the Jordanian military sank several high-powered components, including tanks, helicopters, and troop carriers next to a failing coral reef. What makes this site particularly fascinating is how the military vehicles have been carefully arranged to mimic a battle scene, creating an eerie yet captivating underwater tableau. Divers can swim through the open doors of tanks or explore the interiors of sunken helicopters, offering a unique and immersive experience. Over time, marine life has begun to claim the wreckage, with coral and sponges growing on the vehicles and schools of fish darting through the openings. The museum has also become a haven for underwater photographers, who are drawn to the striking contrast between the man-made machinery and the vibrant marine ecosystem. Conservationists have praised the project for its dual purpose of promoting tourism while aiding in the restoration of the coral reef. The site has quickly gained popularity, attracting both history buffs and marine enthusiasts from around the world. Located more than 90 feet beneath the ocean surface, the dive site includes 19 outdated military pieces, and it plans to sink even more if the museum proves a success. Just leave out the explosives, yeah? Number 2. The Mary Celeste. While the ghost ships of North Korea may be terrifying enough, one of the most legendary lost vessels in history is the Mary Celeste, a mysterious merchant brigantine that was discovered adrift and deserted in the Atlantic Ocean on December 4, 1872. Found abandoned near the Azores Islands, the Mary Celeste was believed to have departed New York City on November 7th, and when she was discovered adrift less than a month later, she was still filled with food and enough provisions to last the crew for several more months. Even more bizarrely, the ship's logbook was intact, with the last entry dated just 9 days before its discovery, giving no indication of trouble. The lifeboat was missing, suggesting the crew may have abandoned ship, but why they would do so remains a mystery. There were no signs of violence or struggle, and the ship itself was in seaworthy condition, with its cargo of industrial alcohol completely untouched. Some theories suggest the crew may have panicked due to a possible alcohol leak, fearing an explosion, while others believe they may have fallen victim to a sudden storm or rogue wave. Over the years, more outlandish theories have emerged, including alien abduction or attacks by sea monsters, adding to the ship's eerie legend. Despite countless investigations, no definitive explanation has ever been found. Strangely enough, none of the crew were to be found, and their personal belongings were left undisturbed, almost as if someone had snapped their fingers and they'd suddenly disappeared. Built in Spencer's Island, Nova Scotia, and first launched under British registration in 1861, the Mary Celeste enjoyed a relatively successful career as a merchant vessel, and the nature of her sudden and mysterious abandonment remains one of the strangest in maritime history. Pretty spooky, right? Number 1. Flooded Chinese City. And for our final entry, what better terrifying tale to end on than with the ancient flooded Lion City of China. Commonly referred to as China's answer to Atlantis, Lion City is a sunken abode located at the bottom of Qandao Lake in China's Zhejiang province. The once thriving city was known for its beautiful and complex architecture, and was revered all across the Lower Kingdom for hundreds of years. It featured intricately carved stonework, grand archways, and towering statues that showcased the artistry and craftsmanship of its time. The city was divided into 5 distinct gates, each leading to different districts, and was surrounded by imposing walls that once protected its inhabitants. Beneath the water, the city remains eerily preserved, with its structures standing as if frozen in time. Divers who have explored the site describe it as stepping into a ghostly underwater world, where the silence is broken only by the sound of bubbles and the occasional flicker of fish darting through the ruins. Some believe the city holds untold secrets, with hidden chambers and artifacts yet to be discovered. Despite its reputation, now it resides over 100 feet below the lake's surface, forgotten for generations in its sunken abode. Incredibly, unlike most ancient cities, its ruin wasn't at the hands of some geological extinction event, but instead at the hands of humans. Despite being a beautiful ancient relic, Lion City was flooded intentionally in order to design and build the hydroelectric station known as the Exinen Dam. As China rapidly grew, they figured that they could sacrifice some of their ancient history in order to pave the way to a new technological future. Hey, let's just hope it's not cursed. And there you have it, the 15 most terrifying objects discovered in the deep sea. What do you think? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching until the very end. This has been Thought Trail, and we'll catch you next time.